Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. In the name of Allah, the Beneficent and the Merciful. Now with today's main headlines. UK reels from far-right violence targeting Muslims. Global non-violence organization calls for transparent UN investigation into Israeli occupation, crimes against Palestinian detainees. Steady decline in religious freedom under Taliban rule, US watchdog reports. Bangladesh prepares for a transitional government led by Muhammad Yunus. Assalamu alaikum dear viewers, this is Hussein watching Shia Waves live from Imam Hussein TV 3 in London. The United Kingdom is grappling with a surge in far-right extremism and violence targeting Muslim communities triggered by false narratives surrounding a fatal stabbing. The unrest has exposed deep-rooted societal divisions and the dangers of misinformation. More details in this following report.
The recent killing of 3 young girls in Southport ignited a firestorm of hate, with far-right groups exploiting the tragedy to incite violence against Muslims. Social media platforms have been instrumental in spreading disinformation and fueling animosity. Despite the identification of the attacker as a non-Muslim, the false narrative persisted, leading to violent protests and attacks on mosques and businesses. The Muslim Council of Britain has condemned the violence, urging unity and caution among Muslim communities. The organisation has advised Muslims to stay safe, cooperate with authorities and maintain solidarity in the face of adversity. Law enforcement agencies are working to contain the violence and bring perpetrators to justice. The Police Service of Northern Ireland has also issued a warning about similar threats targeting Muslim communities in the region. In a direct message to Muslim communities in Northern Ireland, Mr. Boucher pledged that PSNI officers would be standing beside you. "We will be standing in harm's way," he said in the video message issued by his force. The Chief Constable said he and other officers attended a meeting at a mosque in Belfast with leaders of all the mosques across Northern Ireland, where he had listened to concerns. Muslims have vowed to protect mosques across the UK after they were attacked by far-right mobs in nightly riots that show no signs of abating, while community leaders have called for restraint in dealing with rioters. This is Ali Al-Hadi reporting for Shia Waves.
Thank you for that report, Ali Al-Hadi. The global non-violence organization Free Muslim Association has urged all international human rights bodies, particularly the United Nations, to condemn the brutal crimes committed against Palestinian detainees in Israeli prisons. The organization emphasized the necessity of conducting a transparent international investigation to expose the horrific violations and crimes inflicted upon these detainees. In a statement obtained by Shia Waves agency, the organization noted that it reviewed human rights reports prepared by Israeli journalists, indicating a series of crimes against innocent detainees in occupation facilities. These reports reveal that such crimes have resulted in the deaths of hundreds of detainees, including women and children. The report highlights that since the onset of the current conflict, Israeli prisons authorities have engaged in brutal and inhumane practices against detainees, ranging from torture to death, rape, starvation, denial of medical treatment, and even amputations without anesthesia. Additionally, they pointed out severe shortages of food and drinking water, as well as unprecedented overcrowding in prisons due to the large number of detainees. The organization stated that the conditions in these detention facilities are a stain on humanity and called on the free world to take a decisive stand to halt these crimes without favoritism or bias, particularly as most detainees are innocent civilians. It further asserted that the situation closely resembles the atrocities committed by dictatorial regimes such as the Nazi regime or the former Saddam Hussein regime in Iraq. A recent report by the US Commission on International Religious Freedom highlights a significant decline in religious freedom in Afghanistan since the Taliban's takeover in August 2021. More details in this following report.
According to a report, the US agency underscores the Taliban's repressive measures against any actions or beliefs that deviate from the strict interpretation of Islam. The report reveals that Taliban authorities have silenced religious clerics, restricted religious minorities from observing their ceremonies, and imposed severe limitations on the movement and education of Afghan women and girls. The use of corporal and capital punishment has resurfaced with reports of public executions, lashings, and other forms of brutal punishment for perceived violations of Sharia law. Nearly 600 individuals, including women, have been publicly flogged since the Taliban regained power. On August 7, 2024, the Taliban Supreme Court announced a public flogging of a man and a woman in Kabul for an illicit relationship, with the woman receiving 32 lashes and the man 39. This incident is part of a broader trend, as over 63 people were flogged in June alone for offences including homosexuality and adultery. The Taliban's oppressive regime has rendered Afghanistan the only country globally that prohibits girls aged 12 and older from attending secondary school, while female students remain barred from universities. Most Afghan women are also prohibited from working in both public and private sectors. In light of these severe violations, the USCIRF has recommended that the US designate Taliban-run Afghanistan as a country of particular concern under the International Religious Freedom Act and impose targeted sanctions on Taliban officials. Despite international condemnation, the Taliban dismisses allegations of human rights abuses as propaganda, asserting that women's rights are upheld under Islamic principles. Reporting Aruj Fatima for Shia Waves.
Thank you for that report, Aruj Fatima. Now let's take a look back at today's main headlines. UK reels from far-right violence targeting Muslims. Global non-violence organization calls for transparent UN investigation into Israeli occupation crimes against Palestinian detainees. Steady decline in religious freedom under Taliban rule, US watchdog reports. Also, tonight, Karbala International Airport nears completion, set to welcome first flight in early 2025. Bangladesh transitional government, headed by Nobel laureate Muhammad Yunus, is set to be inaugurated on Thursday. According to Army Chief General Walker Uz-Zaman, Yunus will lead a 15-team member, all sworn in late Thursday following the resignation of Sheikh Hasina, who fled to India amid violent protests that resulted in around 400 deaths. Yunus, returning from France, praised the brave students for their role in this second Victory Day, referring to the country's annual celebration of independence. He called for calm and urged citizens to refrain from violence, stating, "Let us make the best use of our new victory." The transitional government aims to address the nation's pressing demands for reform and stability in the wake of recent unrest. And now we continue with some short news. The United Nations World Food Programme has initiated an emergency relief response aid over 100,000 individuals impacted by severe flooding across 5 states in Myanmar, triggered by intense monsoon rains since last June. The flooding has affected more than 200,000 people, with many displaced from their homes. As of August 6th, satellite data from WFP's Advanced Disaster Analysis and Mapping indicates that approximately 855,000 people are residing in flood-exposed areas. The organization is closely monitoring the situation to expand its response as necessary. Majid Shoja, General Commander of Border Forces in Iran's Khorasan Rezavi province, announced that 15,000 illegal immigrants have been arrested and deported to Afghanistan since the start of this year. Speaking at a press conference on August 6th, he emphasized an enhanced border security measures, including the construction of radar-equipped surveillance tower along the eastern border, set to take 2 years to complete. These efforts aim to curb illegal immigration and combat weapon and drug smuggling. The treatment of Afghan migrants in Iran, Pakistan and Turkey has drawn scrutiny from human rights organizations, highlighting the need for a collaborative international response to address the root causes of migration while ensuring the dignity and rights of those affected. Prime Minister Shahbaz Sharif initiated a countrywide monsoon tree plantation campaign on Wednesday, emphasizing the urgent need to combat climate change. During a ceremony, he planted a sapling and announced a target of planting 100 million trees across Pakistan, including Gilgit-Baltistan and Azad Jammu and Kashmir. This initiative aims to mitigate the severe impacts of climate change, which resulted in devastating floods in 2022. Causing approximately $3 billion in damages, over 1,700 deaths, and displacing 8 million people. The Prime Minister stressed the importance of comprehensive strategy to address climate challenges affecting agriculture, energy and infrastructure, aiming for a greener, pollution-free Pakistan. The World Health Organization announced it will dispatch more than 1 million polio vaccines to Gaza following the detection of the virus in wastewater. World Health Organization Chief Tedros Adhanom emphasized the urgent need for health workers to have freedom of movement to administer the vaccines, advocating for a ceasefire or at least a few days of calm to safeguard the region's children. On July 30th, Gaza's health ministry declared the territory as a polio epidemic zone, attributing to a resurgence of the virus to the ongoing military offensive by Israel since the October 7th Hamas attacks, which have been devastated health facilities. The CPV2 strain of the virus was identified in wastewater samples from Khan Yunis and central Gaza. Since the conflict began, Israeli military actions have resulted in significant casualties, with at least 39,677 reported deaths in Gaza, according to the local health authorities. The Arts and Crafts Department of Al-Abbas Holy Shrine is actively preparing the al-Banin, peace be upon her, courtyard to provide optimal services for visitors during the blessed Arba'in pilgrimage. In a statement reported by the Shia Waves agency, Engineer Ammar Saleh Mehdi, the deputy head of the department, noted that as part of the shrine's preparations for the Arba'in pilgrimage plan, teams have begun work on the al-Banin courtyard located near the Abu al-Abbas, peace be upon him, courtyard to create additional space for the influx of pilgrims to Karbala. Mehdi emphasized that Al-Abbas Shrine has decided to utilize the al-Banin courtyard despite it being under construction, with various departments collaborating to prepare the site for this purpose. Furthermore, Mehdi highlighted that the department is working on setting up accommodations in the al-Banin courtyard for female visitors, as well as preparing an outdoor hospitality area near the entrance of Abu Fadl al-Abbas. Additionally, 6 mobile health centers are being established as part of the al-Banin medical facilities. The local government on Karbala announced today that the Karbala International Airport project has made significant progress, with overall completion reaching 90%. The airport is expected to welcome its first flight at the beginning of 2025, marking a major step towards the enhancing of the province's infrastructure and facilitating the travel. In a press statement reported by the Shia Waves agency, Tawfiq Ghalib, the Director of Media and Government Communication in Karbala, highlighted that all access roads to the airport have been successfully completed, improving accessibility and operational efficiency. Ghalib further noted that the construction of the passenger terminal is progressing according to schedule, with completion anticipated soon, which will enhance the airport's readiness for its inaugural flights. Karbala International Airport is a vital project aimed at enhancing the country's aviation infrastructure, with a British company overseeing its construction at a total cost of $500 million. The airport is expected to accommodate 6 million visitors annually, making it the largest in the country. We have reached the end of today's Shia Waves news. Let's take a look at today's main headlines. UK reels from far-right violence targeting Muslims. Global non-violence organization calls for transparent UN investigation into Israeli occupation crimes against Palestinian detainees. Steady decline in religious freedom under Taliban rule, US watchdog reports. Bangladesh prepares for a transitional government led by Muhammad Yunus. Karbala International Airport nears completion, set to welcome first flight in early 2025. You can read the latest news on our Shia Waves website, and you can send news of your city or country to be published on a news agency. Contact the numbers at the bottom of the screen. Thank you all for watching. We pray to Allah Almighty to hasten the appearance of the Master of our time. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Ali and her 3 children live in this, I could literally say, 3 by 2 meter room. It is morning, afternoons, evenings, her day off, when she goes to work, when she cleans, when she cooks, when she changes the kids, everything.